Yeah,
Maybe.
we've been studying, or there's a group at University of Michigan that's been looking at endogenous DMT
Yeah.
that's made in the mammalian brain, and it increases during death, and especially it increases in the visual part of the brain. So it
So
could
they
be.
know that for a fact now.
Yeah, they know that for a fact. It's a 2019 study.
When I first met you, there wasn't nearly as much data. And I remember you were talking about how much anecdotal data that points to the idea of the pineal gland being the source of DMT, but there wasn't a mammal model.
Yeah, the pineal DMT story. It sounds pretty obscure, but it's pretty controversial. I mean, there are, some data, supporting the view that the pineal makes DMT, and other data don't. I think you and I met at Starbucks on Ventura in I think 2009. I was out there for my high school reunion, and we met at Starbucks on Ventura. I think it was in Encino. And we were talking about DMT.
Do you think, I remember that. Do you think that DMT is produced in like all over the body? Like they've found it in the lungs, they've found it in the liver, right? Do you think it's just something that the body produces everywhere?
When they first discovered DMT in mammals, people were focusing on the lung. And, they were also interested in DMT being involved in psychosis. And, there was a, joke, or I don't know if you call it a joke, but an idea that schizophrenia was a lung disease because you were producing, too much DMT. And they were, doing studies to inhibit DMT in schizophrenics or increase it.
Oh, wow. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
That completely makes sense.
Yeah.
That could be what's wrong with them.
It could be. And if you could block DMT naturally or with a vaccine or something, you might have a...
That completely makes sense because I've seen people on it that like fight it and panic. And imagine if that was like a constant state you were involved. That would look totally similar to someone being schizophrenic.
If it was a constant state, you'd have to come up with some ideas about what was going on. And I think that possibly would then, lead to the delusions, the crazy ideas about what's going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow.
Well, so we found, DMT in the rodent pineal in 2013, the group at the University of Michigan.